Welcome to the future, where humans and high-tech are changing the world.
It might be that we're turning into cyborgs ourselves.
This guy is designed to look like a man, but act like a tank.
We're trying to invent a superhero here.
Firefighters get superpowers with these high-tech eyes and ears.
We have the ability to connect dots much faster now.
Man and machine, the ultimate combination. Find out more in this week's edition of Earth 2050. Hi, I'm Joe Penna, and welcome to Earth 2050. Here's an incredible fact. Right now, there are more than 1 million working robots around the world. That's one robot for every 5,000 people. That number is really going to jump by 2050. And when it does, it's going to have a huge impact on how we work and the jobs we do.
There's all kinds of robots being developed right now. There's robots that look like insects. There's robots that look like people. There's robots that look like animals, and industrial robots that don't really look like anything other than a machine.
But as much as these robots may help us, warnings about people embracing technology too quickly and too eagerly have been around for a long, long time.
The notion of artificial people goes way back. The terracotta soldiers at the first emperor's tomb in Xi'an, China. The story of the golem in Prague, rescuing the people from the ghetto. And these were artificial people, biological artificial people.
Take Frankenstein. When you think about it, it's really a horror story about technology gone wrong. And that's really not a surprise when you find out that it was written almost 200 years ago. At the same time that big mechanized factories started springing up in Europe and America. Frankenstein could be called the very first cyborg.
A cyborg is a word that was invented. It's cybernetic organism, cyborg. And what it really means is that it's half living thing and half machine.
It's a universal story. Artificial life and the creation of artificial life is a universal and ancient story, and you can trace it back to the Bible, Greek and Roman mythology, ancient China. Everywhere in the world has their own version.
This is the modern pop culture version of Frankenstein. It's a character named Adam Jensen from the hugely popular game called Deus Ex: Human Revolution. His bionic eyes and limbs give him superpowers. But much of the technology in this fictional character is being used or is in development right now. By the year 2050, a character like Adam Jensen won't be a character anymore.
As I see this next phase of evolution, our guided evolution, if you will, I see it as an opportunity for us to really form our humanity, to imagine our humanity.
These days, the concept of cyborg, of man meeting machine, has gone way beyond science fiction. It's becoming a reality and part of our everyday lives. New machines joined with the human body are helping paraplegics walk. Machines, some that look almost human, and some that don't, are doing more and more of our work. We've even been able to harness brainwaves to move objects. The technology is changing, and as it does, it changes us.
It might be that we're turning into cyborgs ourselves. People and technology started to merge when we started to make sharp stones. And now we have smartphones and Google Glass and everything else.
Things are moving so quickly that even people paid to predict the future can't say what the next life-changing invention will be. One thing is for certain. There will not be one, but many such inventions. And we won't have to wait until 2050 to see them. What this will mean for us is impossible to say. And that's both exciting and a little scary.
Humans are by nature explorers. It's instinctive for us to go out into the world, to discover new things, to experience new environments. So would I be concerned about the way that technology is or can be used, sure, who wouldn't have those concerns? On the other hand, the bottom line is that we're also survivors.
And machines are helping us survive and thrive as never before. Coming up, we'll see how man and machine are coming together in the run-up to the year 2050.
There will come a time when you won't be able to tell where the living thing stops and the machine starts.
Welcome back to Earth 2050. These days, man and machine are meeting in more ways and in different ways than many people predicted. And what's even more surprising is that it's happening a lot faster than anyone ever thought it would.
There happens to be a wonderful convergence right now and a real interest in robotics going on around the planet.
Leaving the field.
And definitely some places are working on a timeline trying to get robots in the home and our everyday lives as soon as possible.
Right now, where man and machine are meeting the most often is in places where it's dangerous for man and not for machines. Places like space, where we can't live and work without the assistance of machines.
You don't always need to risk a human life, put an astronaut into space. Sometimes there are tasks that the robots can do.
There are also dangerous jobs right here on Earth, where, just like astronauts, people work with technology integrated into their equipment and clothing. Take one of the most dangerous jobs there is, fighting fires.
Firefighters daily put themselves in harm's way to make sure that we're all safe. In firefighting, it's pitch black, it's noisy, and it's frightening. And then on top of that, the firefighters are encased in a fireproof outfit, so it's like being in space.
Like spacewalkers, when firemen are on the job, they're not only robbed of oxygen, they're robbed of most and sometimes all of their senses. Billowing smoke makes it hard, if not impossible, to see. The fireproof equipment that they're wearing removes the sense of touch and even decreases their hearing. And that makes an already life-threatening situation even more deadly.
In the past, they would have to go in by hand, dig through the rubble, see if they can find somebody in the dark, yell, shout at each other, and there was just so much chaos and confusion that people died.
So a Chicago-based tech startup came up with a potentially life-saving product, the Fireman's Mask of the Future. It's a cyborg device, the combination of man and machine that creates what futurists call augmented reality.
Augmented reality is an amazing technology which really kind of does what it says. It augments reality. By augmenting, it means it's providing more information about the world around us.
A lot of people have been working on this technology for the last 10 to 15 years, and we're about to see the fruits.
Here's what they're talking about. This is a simulation of what it looks like to enter a burning building through the eyes of a fireman wearing the augmented reality mask. Right away, sensors and cameras on the mask provide vital information.
As soon as you walk into the room, you know immediately where the exits are. You know where the fire is.
A timer tells a firefighter exactly how much time is left on his oxygen tank. Sensors tell him the temperature of each room before he enters. But the key piece of technology is in the glove.
If you flip the hand over, you can see what we call the coolest wristwatch in the world.
The glove is a treasure trove of data. It tells a firefighter where his other team members are. By pressing a button, he can tune into their cameras and see what they're seeing. At the press of a finger, he can see if his sensors detect any contaminants that might be in the room. With a wave of his hand, he activates thermal imaging detectors embedded in his equipment.
And so now your eyes are seeing the world through a thermal camera instead of just through your normal camera. It's superimposed, and the thermal camera shows you heat.
This thermal imaging identifies hotspots and potential killers that old technology couldn't detect. It also detects potential victims.
It can see a warm body underneath a bed hiding. It can see humans under debris and whatnot.
Devices similar to the fireman's mask will soon be used by everyone, from doctors to chefs to mechanics and even students. It's life-saving technology that will soon be a part of our everyday lives. Next on Earth 2050. Build a machine that looks like a man and watch what happens.
He would be extremely useful in something like a nuclear disaster where you don't want to send humans in.
Welcome back to Earth 2050. While designers around the world are working to make robots think more like humans, there's another meeting of man and machine where brain work is left to people and the brawn is for the robots. Take this robot called Chimp. This sort of looks like a man, but this is actually one very powerful machine.
We're trying to invent a superhero here. So what we've done is we've made a robot that's able to do a variety of tasks that humans can do, and hopefully it can do them even better.
Chimp is at least 4 times stronger than the strongest person on Earth. Fully loaded, he weighs 400 pounds. His body is made of a lightweight but extremely strong aluminum alloy, similar to what's used in airplanes. He's virtually indestructible, and he needs to be because just like a superhero, danger is his business.
I'm really excited about robots in our future. I think that they're going to be able to take over a lot of work that would normally be dangerous or stressful to humans.
He would be extremely useful in something like a nuclear disaster where you don't want to send humans in.
So even though it's designed to be humanoid, Chimp has some features that you and I could only dream about. For example, these tank-like treads allow it to go almost anywhere, maybe even other planets someday.
He can transform into a vehicle, and he can drive on rough terrain. So terrain that might be hard for you and I to walk through, Chimp is just happily driving through like a tank.
Chimp is one of many robots built to go into deadly environments. But with Chimp, there's a vital difference. He's built to look like a human being because he's designed to do human jobs. And with these lenses in his head, he can see a lot better and a lot more than we can.
He has a lot more eyes than you and I do. He has a total of 6 cameras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another one in the back.
Oh yes.
So those allow him to see his surroundings. Chimp can actually go in and do things. And that's sort of a capability that hasn't existed before. So it's stronger, it's more capable, and it can go in places that humans can't go.
Other search and rescue robots, like the Snake robot, are designed to be a mechanical set of eyes and ears for rescue personnel. Quadrotors do the same thing from the air. But when it comes time for the actual rescue, these robots aren't helping much. It's people who have to do the dangerous work. Not so with Chimp. He's built to withstand explosions, poisonous gas leaks, nuclear radiation, almost anything. But what really sets Chimp apart is his hands. This robot can grasp and hold things just like a human being, and this makes all the difference.
Chimp can open doors, Chimp can climb ladders, he picks things up, he uses power tools, he can take a drill and cut through a wall, all sorts of stuff.
It sounds simple enough, but it's actually a revolutionary bit of design. The reason primates like you and me are the best tool users in the animal kingdom is not only because of our brain power, but because of our ability to grip things. In Chimp, being able to do this is a big leap forward for robots.
He's ape-like. He actually has really, really long arms. He can reach things from further away than a human can.
He's a mechanical Superman, but unlike some robots, Chimp can't think for himself. With this robot, all the thinking is left to his human handlers.
Some machines look like a robot, but somebody is controlling them, remotely controlling them from afar.
The robot and the software are designed entirely so that there's always someone in the loop, someone who's actually telling the robot what to do.
What's in the future for Chimp? Probably a lot of travel. Down into the ocean and up into outer space.
He obviously doesn't need the life support that humans need to, say, travel to Mars. So versions of Chimp could become the next Martian rovers.
Both places where a superhuman machine has plenty of work to do. Next on Earth 2050, the world's most popular game goes robotic. Hi, I'm Joe Penna, and welcome back to Earth 2050. What's the main thing that makes humans different than robots? Well, there are robots that work a lot faster than we can. There are robots that are a lot stronger than we are. But even though robots can do some incredible things, they really can't think for themselves. At least not yet. Now, robot developers from around the world are turning to a high-tech version of soccer to make it happen. This is RoboCup. It's the World Cup of robotics. It's a worldwide competition in which robots go head-to-head in a mechanized version of the world's most popular game.
One of the goals of this project is actually to build a team of robots that would compete against the best human soccer team, right? The winners of the World Cup. That's the kind of goal in 2015.
So how do scientists plan to get these robot soccer players in shape to play like people? The first step is to try to make them work without people.
There is no human remote control. There is no off-board processing going on. Everything is basically taking senses from their onboard sensors, using their own onboard computers, their own onboard power, and then using their motors to actually play.
This little guy looks like a toy, and in many ways, it is. But there's one big difference. Just like people, this robot learns from his mistakes. Every time that he falls and gets back up, he learns something. And that could have huge implications for robotics in the future.
In the RoboCup competitions, all the robots are identical, except for the software. Basically, they're robot brains, which get smarter every time that they play.
Soccer is what we see as a kind of a challenge problem. That is a moving ball, other opponents, being able to make decisions about whether you should go after the ball, you should play defense, should you kick the ball, should you pass the ball, and then being able to do that very quickly.
Just like with humans, practice sessions build up memory. Sensors allow these robots to zero in on the ball, to recognize teammates, to head towards the goal. But just like humans, they slip and fall. They can miss the ball, and sometimes they can pass it to the wrong robot. And that's all part of the plan.
No way a human programmer can anticipate all the different types of possibilities. And so you really need to have these machines be able to kind of learn on their own so that we don't have to sit there and program every single contingency.
Yeah, kind of like human beings. They can figure out something that went wrong so they can do it different next time.
Yes.
So what could these little self-teaching robots mean for us? A smarter robot is a safer robot, and that means that they're coming into our homes. Meet Herb, the home-exploring robot butler.
Robot butlers, physical things that walk around the house, are coming because we're finally figuring out how to make good, stable, cheap robot platforms.
His designers say that he'll soon be able to act on direct commands, just like a human butler.
The modern Herb is much more like a functional, semi-humanoid robot that's able to interact with your world the same way that you interact with your world.
Herb is designed by students and professors at Carnegie Mellon University. These people know a little something about high-tech hired help. They have another robot butler working their reception area. But Herb is different. Like the RoboCup robots, he's slowly learning how to do his job. He makes mistakes, but each time he gets a little better.
You tell Herb, go make me a meal in the kitchen. I want you to grab me this book from the bookshelf and bring it to me. And he'll deal with all the details.
By 2050, robots like Herb won't just be in our homes. They'll be in our offices, in our schools, and even our hospitals.
The best robots right now that are working with humans have cushions on them, so they don't bump into you. If they bump into you, it's not a problem. And people right now are building helper robots for the elderly.
These little soccer robots look like they're playing, but they're actually paving the way for robots that will be working side by side with us every day.
Definitely we're in the early stages. You definitely will see kind of 10 years from now, these robots will look like ancient pieces of technology.
Welcome back to Earth 2050. We've come a long way since the days when technology was so frightening that artists created monsters like Frankenstein to give shape to people's fears. Now, technology is so much part of our lives that we tend to take it for granted. But we probably shouldn't. There's no telling how much it could change our lives by the year 2050.
There are many ways in which technology could wind up dehumanizing us. One is if we let the machines do everything for us. If we become what are called lotus eaters, and science fiction has many failure modes, many stories showing how this could go badly.
Robotics in general is still in its infancy, and it's definitely going to revolutionize the world. So you're going to see robots like this around you on a daily basis, doing tasks and sort of increasing our productivity as a society, helping people in need of it, perhaps even doing things like taking care of sick people when they need it.
What appears to be happening is that as we make more machines, it creates more time to create new technology. The world is changing faster right now than it ever has before.
Cyborgs, they're all over the place. There are now people with retinas that they can't see, but some of their sight has been restored because they have electronic retinas. And there are people right now who have robotic arms that aren't just a hook and a cable, but they're actually responding to signals from the person's brain and doing things as good as a regular arm.
It's very hard to predict something in 35 years. If you look at kind of the progress of technology in the last 30 years, it's incredible. So trying to anticipate what's going to happen in more than 10 years is even, much harder to do. However, you're going to see kind of embedded computation sensing all around us, right? The cell phone that you're carrying was just invented a few years ago. It's now going to be much more miniaturized. You'll have versions of these types of computation and communications in the whole environment.
The fact of the matter is we have the ability to connect dots much faster now. And that's really what this technology can do, is it gives you the tools, the decision points that you need to connect the dots faster and make more intelligent decisions more quickly.
As we've seen, technology is freeing up time for futurists to come up with even more inventions. We might have some idea of what's coming next, but even the most far-sighted inventors say that they're expecting to be surprised. That's it for this week's edition of Earth 2050. I'm Joe Pena. I'll see you next time.